Hello, everybody. I am Jarrett Ross, the Genie Vlogger, and welcome back to another Genie Vlogger live stream where today I'll be building the family tree of Sean Diddy Combs, Puff Daddy, P Diddy, whatever you want to call him. Jumping on the bandwagon of news trends. Don't usually do this, but I was trying to figure out a live stream for today. That was one of the ones that popped into my mind, and I let my Discord decide. So for anyone who doesn't know, I have a Discord server, and every once in a while I'll do stuff kind of like this that's kind of just a fun thing to let my Discord server decide. And so here, I'm gonna share that real quick. So if you want to, join the Discord and all of that, definitely check it out. I see Charlie's in here. I'll see if he shares the link, but down here. So I had a few ideas, either build P. Diddy's family tree, watch some of my old videos, watch genealogy TikTok videos, just chat about genealogy and answer questions, work on my own tree, or play more time guesser. And you can see that build P. Diddy's family tree won out by a mile. So that's what we'll be doing. Why is it giving? It's so funny. I have the direct connection for my internet now, but it still gives me Wi-Fi low signals every once in a while. So hopefully it's nothing from that storm. So I'm in North Carolina. We got the tail end of the hurricane here this morning. So that was that was enjoyable. Actually, my neighbor's basement got a little flooded. Luckily, mine didn't. But yeah, so the family tree of P. Diddy so far, built just a real quick thing because we'll be spending time building it out here. But what I want to do is I'm gonna let you all decide in a poll which line we're gonna look at, and then I think we're gonna choose what we want to focus on in the research. Do we want to just build stuff, or do we want to look into people's stories, or what? So there's going to be, let's see, Combs, Davis, Smalls, and Collier. Which I didn't realize that his mother's maiden name was Smalls, which I thought was kind of funny because I'm a huge Biggie Smalls fan. And obviously, he was a big part of Biggie Smalls' story and getting him, out there. And, he's the one who signed him and all that. So that was kind of an interesting thing. And I don't know if I've ever heard where he got the whole Biggie Smalls from necessarily, obviously, because he was a big guy. But that just made me wonder, did the Smalls come because Puff Daddy already had the idea of Smalls in his mind. So which family line should we focus on? So for those of you who are possibly watching from Twitch, I am running polls on YouTube. Yeah, I see there's a few of you in Twitch. Actually need to open up my Twitch. But while that poll is running, I guess we'll go and say hellos. Also, there's the Discord link for anyone in the live stream that wants to join the Discord. So talk about all sorts of stuff, genealogy, and then we talk about other stuff too. So, all right. Starting out, we have Brian Nash from How We Got Here Genealogy. Good day, eh? Good day. Hope you're doing well, Brian. Julia Joyce, good evening. Hello, Julia. I actually saw you just join the Discord today. So welcome. Stig, hello, everybody from Oslo, Norway. Hello, Stig, one of our Scandinavian representation. Always good to have you. And one of our wiki treers, John Tyner, saying hello to Brian and Julia, who I saw were in here too. So we got a lot of wiki treers in here because the challenge week for wiki tree for me just ended. Basically, wiki tree is a collaborative family tree where there's one world tree they all build from. And they do a challenge week where they focus on a singular person's family tree and build it out as much as they can to what's known as 7 degrees. So I was the focus of that. And that just ended on yesterday at noon, or was it Wednesday at noon? I can't remember. Really recently, but yeah. So you may see some people mentioning stuff about that or trying to see if they're closer related to me now, if they can find that. And that's what they're talking about. Katie Gray, hello. Good evening from Ohio. Nam Dionlu, don't know if I pronounced that right. Hopefully I got it correct. Jared is wild for this. Yeah, I know. I thought it'd be an interesting thing, and I figured if I put it to my Discord, let's see how they feel about it, and they felt that was definitely the most interesting thing. So it's been a while since I've done a build family tree stream, actually. Figure, so you can all check it out. Brian Van Overberg, hello, Brian. Hope you're doing well. And then, of course, John Tyner's coming in from Wicklow, Ireland. Another one of our wiki treers and the challenge leader for my week, if I remember correctly. If that the leader, I don't remember the terminology exactly, but Elaine, hello. Good to see you. Do Kamala Harris's family tree. It's wild. Maybe I'll do that in the future. You know, I'm open to doing everybody's family tree, and especially she has a big mixture of ancestry, so that'd probably be very interesting to see the different genealogy related to that. I know you're asking Elaine, but I thought the challenge went pretty well. I'm looking forward to the reveal. They're going to do a reveal on October 4th on the WikiTree channel, so for all those that want to check that out. I think that's right, 8 p.m. Eastern. Sharon Phillips, good evening from New York. Hello, Sharon. Thank you for joining. Good to have you as always. And then my mom, Sandy. Hello, Mom. Or it's someone else in North Carolina with my mom's name. Yeah, you need to see if you are closer. Let's see. Yeah, great trend to hop on. All right, let's see. There we go. Evening from Bristol, UK. Hello, Daniel. Evening. Thank you for joining. We have enabled, disabled. Good night, Jared. Good night. Are you is it night where you're at, or is it you heading out to bed? But either way, thanks for jumping in. Robert Skurlock, Genie Vlogger. I found a tie between you and my third cousin, 15 times removed, Reverend George Burroughs on Genie. Is it possible we're connected somehow? I mean, everybody's really connected. It's just a matter of how much of your tree and my tree is built out to find that actual connection. And then the connection can be very far back. In my experience, I find that anybody that has European ancestry, if they're able to trace into the royal family tree, which I'm able to trace into, then we are usually going to be at the closest, I want to say maybe like 17th, 18th cousins, but then often it's usually somewhere between like 20 or 30th cousins. So if you've seen a lot of my YouTuber family tree series episodes, I talk about how I'm related to a lot of the people that are on that, and pretty much all of them I'm somewhere within 20 or 25 if cousins, and they're all largely coming from European ancestries. And then if you're coming from a similar ancestry as someone else, it's usually a lot closer. So like for anyone who comes from a Jewish ancestry, whether it's Ashkenazi or Sephardi, if it's something else like Mizrahi or the Kaifeng Jews or the B'nai Israel or all those different ones, not quite as close. Those will be a bit further, but for pretty much anyone who's Ashkenazi or Sephardi, to me, you're probably going to be at the very least like a 12th cousin, but possibly many other times, that's the whole endogamy thing. I'm not going to get too much into that, but basically, yeah, we're probably connected somehow. So you roped this in or something. Well, I hope you all keep coming out to my streams. Hopefully that is enjoyable. Rob, hello, good evening. Hello, Rob. Hope you're doing well. Oh yeah, ended Thursday. Okay. Let's see. Yes, hello, Brian. Doing good. Then we have a few more hellos. Miss Tree Moon from Salisbury, North Carolina. Thank you for joining. And Son Johnson, I had someone from Brazil email me today asking about our connection. Yeah, once you start building stuff out, you get that cousin bait going. You'll get a lot of people going for different stuff. Scruffy Scruggs getting ready for Shabbos in Minnesota. Yeah, one of the reasons why I hate starting so late sometimes on Fridays, but unfortunately one of my dogs was not feeling well today, so was dealing with that. Just ended up having to start later. So, all right, well, I think we've gone through and done the hellos. I'm gonna try to just make the screen as big as possible, or as easy to read, I guess. If I can, if it will allow me. Let's see. Go. The way they have it to edit this is so interesting. I guess you all don't need to see me as big. And don't need to see the top really. Actually, yeah, the search bar there. All right, I think that's pretty good. I'll save that. And let's just update this one. Okie dokie. I just saw this late. Here it is, 50 minutes before midnight. That's late. Yeah, well, I'm also on the East Coast of the United States, so it's only 5:10 p.m. for me. So, sorry to hear about your dog. My 3-legged schnauzer pulled her shoulder on the front leg. She still is taking it easy at my feet. Yeah, it's difficult with the puppies getting sick, but he's doing better now. He's doing better. All right. So let's take a look at the poll. So it looks like the Collier line is going the most. We have, let's see, 32 votes. Yeah, we'll just end it at 32 votes with 40 some odd people there. So I actually thought it might be the Combs line, but I guess a lot of people kind of know a little bit about his father's line, just because I guess it's really, they know a little bit about his father, because if you didn't know, his father's notorious for having driven that famous gangster. I can't remember his name. They did that movie about him. Oh man, why is his name slipping my mind right now? But yeah, he died in 1972 because he was like shot down in a car. But gosh, what was that guy? Oh, it was like something Lucas, I think. I can't remember exactly. Doesn't matter. Either way, we'll look into the Collier line. Now, when I looked at it, it was very obvious, he's a big celebrity, and especially with everything going on right now with the scandal and whatnot, I'm sure there's a ton of people who have a lot more interest in him. And, for anyone who's into genealogy, this is often the way we look into people that we're interested about. We look at their family trees, because I feel like a lot of us genealogy-minded people are often like, I wonder if we're related. I wonder how we're connected, if any way possible or whatnot. So, I guess Frank Lucas, that's it. Okay. So I was thinking maybe of putting out a poll too about choosing, how to look at stuff, but I guess maybe what I'll do is I'll just kind of be building the tree, just talk about whatever, and then I'll keep an eye out for chat to see if you all are like, wait, talk about that, or look at that, or look into this, or whatever. So yeah, we'll just go that way. So, born in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Oh, just add in these parents. Interesting. Yeah, Denzel portrayed him in American Gangster. Yeah, that was the movie. That was a great movie. Because that's the movie where he shoots Idris Elba, like Idris Elba's character in like public, right after he's like, "What? You gonna shoot me right here?" And he does. All right, so we have the parents. Do you have a census record? We don't have census records. Yeah, Collier does sound Irish. I definitely agree with that. I'm just seeing that now. So I guess maybe that's why a lot of you were like, yeah, let's do that. Collier. Yeah. It's public member stories. So I guess Yeah, this is from the Village Voice, some newspaper. All right. I think it talks a bit about the family, but I really want to find a census record if possible. Let's edit this down. Let's take that out. Let's take that out. It's female. Exact state. I hate when I do that. All right. Exact to. Yeah, let's do 2 years. Voted Collier with the idea of tracing the maternal mother's line. Oh, interesting. Okay. I see where you're going with that. So, Smalls, what are the parents? George and Maisie. So, she's the granddaughter. So, I mean, I guess maybe it could be her. That's probably not her. Oh, wait. That says Smalls. That's right. All right. All right, let's look for the parents. That'll be easier. Yeah, he's definitely not living. That'd be crazy if he was. I hate that it does that. Put people that should definitely be deceased. He was on the episode Family Reunions. Oh, was Puff Daddy was? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I didn't even remember that. That's right. Okay. Yeah, looking on WikiTree to see what we have. Got some family, not a ton of sources yet. Yeah, I used Genie as kind of just a jumping off point just to see if it was something buildable sort of thing. All right, so we're getting some basic stuff. Maisie Anderson. All right, that's Jesse Bell Smalls. That's interesting. I wonder where the Miriam comes from. I'll have to take a look at that. And then this is, I saw something else that said 1921. And this is U.S. Social Security. I'm going to stick with that. We'll change it back if it's something else jumps up and seems to indicate we're off. All right, easy. And this late again. Hello from Nebraska. Hello, Karma. Thank you for joining. So, Maisie Anderson, Collier. Where were they living? They were in South Carolina. Let's go back here. I know she had a lot of records attached. So they get married in New York. So she's in New York by 1939 and married. So we would presumably find her in New York in 1940. This World War II draft places them in New York still, and confirms the Orangeburg birth, at least for her birth. Yes. Herbert's from Orangeburg, South Carolina, too. Okay. Why are you doing this? What are you trying to do or accomplish? Are you aware Dr. Henry Louis Gates featured? What am I trying to do? I'm just trying to have fun and build a family tree and go through records. I'm not trying to accomplish anything like I'm trying to prove something. I find comments like this really hilarious. Like, it's just a matter of building trees. Like, this is what we do in genealogy. And a lot of people will rebuild stuff that other people have built. So what are you trying to prove with your comment? You know, I mean, someone already mentioned that. I already even said, oh, wow, he built it on finding your roots. Didn't remember. Doesn't matter. We can still have fun. We probably are going to look at a lot of records that he didn't talk about. So, yeah. Thank you. So, that's my truth, Mrs. Truth. So, the main thing we're looking for now, 1940 census in New York, because they're obviously in New York. And that's that Village article we were looking at earlier. So, what I'm going to do, we've got that bell now. Wait, no. Was it? Yeah. We'll do sounds like South Carolina, 1921. Just seeing this. I think what you are accomplishing is showing people how to build out a family tree, and that's a noble cause. Thank you. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going for too with this is, you know, you get to see what is the process. Granted, one of the downsides of doing these, especially because I do a new one all the time, is that it does hit a lot of the same stuff. You know, once you get into the nitty gritty of specific population groups, that's where it gets fun, which is one reason why I like doing my Sephardi family trees, because I get to show off like all of the Dutch archives and show off all of the different resources that people don't usually see. But then, you know, you often hit a lot of this typical sort of stuff that you see on Ancestry with a lot of the streams I do, but it's still, you know, still is a good place because a lot of people just aren't even familiar with how do you do the basic stuff with Ancestry. Thank you. John Tyner, Ancestry has been misbehaving a lot lately. Yeah, that I've been getting the coal miner guy a lot. Like I was actually making a joke. I've made this joke a few times probably, but that guy that was doing the coal mining probably did not, or the gold mining or whatever, probably did not realize that like 100 years later that people would absolutely hate seeing the sight of him because it meant that something screwed up on Ancestry. So yeah. Oh, there we go. There we go. Miss Truth, why are you here? What are you trying to accomplish with your comment? Are you aware you are free to leave? I wouldn't be surprised if they're not even in here still. I wonder if I can even see. It doesn't really matter. If they want to stay, they can, you know, if they maybe she just didn't realize, you know. So, you know, give her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but you know, what can I say? I'm a nice guy. But still kind of a lame comment. Give her the benefit of the doubt, but it's still a lame comment. So, but maybe just didn't realize, you know, this is what genealogists do. You know. So yeah, I love that you're all jumping in to help support me. So that's awesome. I appreciate that. All right, so here we have the Social Security, which I think we added that already. It's gonna say it. Yep, added it. The question is so let's, all right, we'll do this first. Let's just go with straight up. Can we find Colliers in South Carolina? The only thing is if they moved before 1930. Oh, wait, Miss Truth said something again. All right, let's see what you got, Miss Truth. Although this info is public info and easy to obtain by those who know how and where to find it, in my opinion, unless a person has authorized you to expose all their family highly personal info real time, is wrong. Well, I only choose celebrities who already have family trees which are publicly built and have been publicly presented in various ways. So this is, I'm going in ancestry research. I'm not going to do descendancy research and try to find living people. So that, I get where you're coming from in a way, but I do not agree. And I especially don't agree with that applying here. So, yeah. Jane Oswitz, I wish Polish ancestry would be covered one day, specifically Poles in America in the Pennsylvania, Syracuse, and Buffalo, New York area. Yeah, with what I often cover, it just depends on people's ancestry. So like the main thing I love to do is my YouTuber family tree series, where I work directly with a YouTuber to help build out their family tree, and oftentimes they'll do DNA testing for me, and we find a lot of really fun stuff. So not exactly the same thing as what, a Polish ancestry, but with Mr. Beat, he had that Volga German ancestry, which was really interesting and also very unique. So, that one was a cool one to kind of build into. So if I ever find someone who has Polish ancestry that's on my YouTuber family tree series, I'll probably end up doing an episode on that. And I have to look into it again, because I'll be doing another episode on Steve Heimler's family tree again. I'll be doing episodes on pretty much all the people that have been a guest on the series so far. And if I remember correctly, I think he had Polish ancestry, which would have been in Michigan, in Detroit. But I don't remember for sure. I know it was like some sort of Eastern European, because the family tree or the part of his family tree that I talked about in that episode was his Lithuanian Jewish ancestry, which traced to the town of Mariampol. So yeah. One thing I was considering, I just don't know how I'd do it, and I don't know how I'd choose who to do it for. And then you do run into the serious issue of, discussing stuff that should be private, the stuff that shouldn't be presented publicly with living family members, because, especially with someone's family tree. Like whenever I present anything in my family tree, if any of my cousins' names are shown and they're a living family member, I have contacted them and said, are you okay with me using your name? So yeah, so like a great example with the episode I've got coming up on Max Miller, which, oh my gosh, it's so close. It's so close. I actually talk about one of the DNA matches in there, and I asked her directly, are you okay with me using your name? Are you okay with me showing this and that? And, got permission for all of that. But basically what I was getting at is I was thinking about a way of doing a live stream where I trace someone who's watching, one of the audience's family trees. But that's the issue, is running into that. So yeah. Doesn't care about living. Yeah, I don't include living relatives, just deceased ones. Who cares what PT think? Yeah, well, yeah. So I'm liking all the backup. So all right, let's see what's a finished family tree is sufficient. Now that is a hilarious thing to say to genealogists, because if there's one thing genealogists know, family trees are never finished, never complete. It's always going. And in fact, we have memes all about that. So, yeah. You asked that people be respectful with their comments, yet you insulted me and even read insults by others. I've followed you for years. I'm disappointed in you. I mean, I thought your first comment was a very weird and somewhat disrespectful comment in of itself. And, I mean, sorry, it is what it is. I'm doing what I think. So thank you. I was hoping I'd find his tree on YouTube. Did you see his Finding Your Roots? I need to watch the Finding Your Roots because it's been a long time. I completely forgot he was on it. So I'll have to watch that one again. It's funny because I want to say like the past 5 years or so of Finding Your Roots, I just have been doing so much else in genealogy that I haven't focused as much on it. So it's like I remember so much more about a lot of the earlier episodes and even like the Faces of America and the African Ancestry episodes. So it's been, yeah. it's been kind of weird, like not remembering some of the more recent stuff. So okay, as I depart, just remember he has 6 innocent and several young children. Yeah, I mean, it's very sad what they're probably going to go through, So, but it's unfortunately on him. That's unfortunately on him. So, Rob, I make trees for historical figures. I read about it in books. At the moment, it's Elizabeth Sampson from the book The Free Elizabeth, Prisoner of Color by Cynthia McLeod. Mystery Moon. I would be down to have mine done. Yeah. I get that from so many people that they want to have me do their family trees. And so, with so many people doing it, that's why I was like, I wonder if that would be a fun way to do a live stream. But then there is a difficulty of choosing the trees. And then, I mean, I guess there is a way you could do it with, without really focusing on the living people, kind of like how I do a lot of these other trees. But yeah, so yeah, hello finished tree. That totally reminded me. I'm not going to take the time to try to find it, but there was a meme that I made a while back that was making fun of that. There was like that. It was that template where it's like the person trying to sleep and then their brain's like, hey, did you remember? And like basically what it says is, hey, your family tree is never going to be finished. And then they wake up like, oh my gosh. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. Hopefully I'm not ruining it by describing it. All right. Yeah, I should not keep focusing on all this drama stuff. I have ancestors in the witness protection program. Mine is definitely not finished. Yeah, I know. It definitely feels like a lot of ancestors went into witness protection. Yeah, not allowed to say that word, I guess. I would rather not. So I wish Finding Your Roots was broadcast in the UK. I've seen snippets on YouTube. Yet, honestly, one of the biggest disappointments I have with Finding Your Roots is that even in the US, it's hard to watch old episodes. And I was even doing I paid for like the PBS pass and everything. And the PBS pass, I thought would give me access to all the Finding Your Roots. And it was like only like season 7 or season 8 and more recent. And it was just really disappointing. It was really disappointing. Yeah. Oh, I know that meme. Yeah. Ever come across the quote, the Ashkenazim don't have family trees, we have family bushes? Any truth you find to this? I mean, yeah, but I feel like that's with a lot of trees, to be honest. Like I feel like it really varies. Like there's some I don't know. It's hard to describe, I guess, but I feel like that's mostly everybody, because family bushes just indicates that it's not that it's like, it goes up and then it sprouts out only. It's like it sprouts out infinitely because everyone has all these siblings and this and that and whatnot. And yeah, so I mean, I find that there's just a lot of people that have those types of family trees, and I feel like the families that I see that happen most with are the LDS families, because LDS families have a lot of kids. So yeah. My maternal line is all Slovak and Eastern European. You can have fun with that line of mine if you want. Yeah, Slovak, Eastern European, that might be hard. I'm not familiar with any Slovakian records. I'm not familiar with any Czech Republic records, which I wonder if maybe, I don't know the full on like where the records are for what was once Czechoslovakia, but I would wonder if that's one of the issues that happens there too, So so one thing I'm trying to kind of figure out, but it's hard to, is it the 1922 or 1921 birth date? So yeah. Yeah, use a VPN. I actually use a VPN for BBC Ghosts and some other shows too. That's the main reason I use the VPN. So yeah, definitely give it a try. The higher up I go, the more I see the same people show up again and again on different branches. Oh, so you're talking about kind of like the pedigree collapse just happened so quickly. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's pretty common for a lot of people who are Jewish. The difficulty is most people who are Jewish can't trace their trees far back enough to really get that. So like on my Dutch lines, my Dutch Sephardi and my Dutch Ashkenazi lines, I am able to like find a lot of ancestors over and over, especially once you get back to like the 1600s. I feel like that's when it starts to really kind of really go crazy, at least for my family tree. But then on a lot of the other family lines, it's like they just don't go far back enough to really get that. Like, I mean, some of my best non-Dutch lines basically go back to like the mid 1700s at best, and that's only like one or two of them. I might be another, yeah, but I don't know exactly, because that partially relies on some of my most recently discovered connections. So, but yeah, I guess that could be it. I have found that when I do a lot of research for people that come from American colonial lines, that if they have a lot of family lines that are American colonial, like especially on both their mom and dad's side, then I find those often have a lot of repeating ancestors as well. And I think a lot of people have even kind of nicknamed that colonial endogamy, because a lot of people that come from early colonial American ancestors, I have a lot of shared early American colonial ancestors, especially people that have lines dating back to like the Mayflower and stuff. I want to see the Furstenberg Finding Your Roots episode, as I have that surname in my Jewish lines. Yeah, what is that? Diana von Furstenberg is her name, or whatever, the designer. Yeah, a whole lot of Mrs. Truth stuff still. I'm just going to avoid that. I think that's a little too drama right now. Yeah, Ghost is hilarious. Even Queen Elizabeth watched it. I didn't know that. That's awesome. Yeah, Ghost, as someone who's a genealogist and watching Ghost, that just makes me like, oh my gosh, if I had that power, imagine like going like to historical sites and being able to talk to the ghosts there. Like, I mean, I guess for some people maybe that'd be like creeping them out, but for me that'd be so cool, especially the way the show presents it. It makes it so jovial. But I guess it might not be, people that were living in the 1500s probably aren't exactly the greatest people to necessarily converse with, if you can. Yeah, my tree is more like the thistles of my Scottish ancestry. Is it a weed or plant that just chokes out the roses? Right now, I'm searching a family line that's from a region in Sweden called Skaraborg, which is made up of 271 parishes with borders that changed historically. That's going to be difficult. That's going to be difficult. Let's see. Petty Possum, if you can find the hometown in Slovakia based on some record here, there are a lot of church records indexed in Family Search. I got back to some 5th and 6th great grandparents in Slovakia. Oh, that's awesome. That's good to know. That's good to know. So take note, Katie. JC Music Man at Genie Vlogger. You can do my tree. I got stuck at getting beyond my great grandparents who were living in Missouri and came from England in the 1860s. Interesting. I wonder if where did they do any of the homesteading stuff? Were they homesteaders? I don't know if that's out of the time range for that, but let's see. Oh, interesting. I'm Lumbee on my paternal side. We have Bushes too, LL. Because of a lot of messed up history here, makes it difficult to trace. My maternal grandfather's side is a big question mark after my second great grandfather. Interesting. I actually know, I've known a few people who had Lumbee ancestry because I live in North Carolina, and I think the Lumbee were pretty prevalent, mostly on the coast. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. You might correct me. But if I remember correctly, a lot of them were on the coast. But here in the Triangle area, I know that I've hung out with a few people that have Lumbee ancestry. So I wonder what you might be able to find in like the North Carolina archives, the state archives, or even like in Raleigh, North Carolina. There's the Olivia Rainey Library. I don't know where you're located, or if you can get to North Carolina, but yeah, there's the Olivia Rainey Local History Library, which has, I could be wrong, but from my understanding, it has a lot of unique books that are like, there's only like 2 or 3 copies sort of thing. So, yeah. Found them later in Oklahoma with an oil lease. Making that money, I guess. So, all right, I should probably get to the task at hand and actually building this tree. I mean, I am enjoying reading everybody's comments and stuff. So, yeah. Husband went to school in Raleigh in the 60s. Ah, cool. Well, that must have been quite a time to be going to school in North Carolina in the 60s, like right in the heart of the civil rights movement and everything. And I mean, I don't think there, I mean, I don't, I actually don't know the history of Raleigh and the civil rights movement that well. I should learn that, being that I live here. So, all right. So this Collier line, get messages. This Collier line is being a little difficult. So he's supposed to have been born in South Carolina too. I may need to look into other records. All right, so we have South Carolina. So 17. We don't have a birthday form, but presumably he'd be born right around the turn of the 1900s. So George Collier, 27. So this is the 1920. So can we find him 1930? Because if we can find 1930, then presumably Jesse would be there as well. So, let's also do this. Since we can estimate, we'll do 5 years. I'm from NC, and yes, we have a large presence here, but because of a lot of huge families, shared names, and marrying cousins, it's so very confusing. Okay, yeah. The name that I remember that associated with the Lumbee families, the ones that I knew, was Bryant. So I don't know if that's one in your family, but that obviously seems like a not a native, one of the actual native names, but something adopted. But it could be a common common name, kind of like, you know, with people who are Filipino, their names are largely Hispanic. Brian, speaking of Queen Elizabeth I, saw some info on her corgis family trees and often thought it would be neat to talk to someone who knew your 8th great grandparents. Yeah. Hold on. I saw some info on her corgis family trees and often thought it would be neat to talk to someone who knew your 8th great grandparents. I mean, I definitely agree but I think the corgis family tree is interesting, and it would be interesting. I mean, to talk to someone who knew your 8th great grandparents, I guess. Oh, I guess you're talking about Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth knew her corgi's 8th great grandparents. That's what you're saying? Oh, okay. She had that many generations. Okay, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Yeah. We'll definitely check the resources, Raleigh. Thank you. Yeah, my pleasure. So let's see. I interviewed my grandpa before he died. He gave me the name of every relative he could think of. It was a fun trip finding second cousins in an old homestead outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's really cool. Okay. Cummings, Locklear, Oxendine, Hunt, Hood, Chavis are a few Lumbee surnames. I know tons of people with some of these names. I know a lot of people with the Cummings surname, Hunt, Hood, and Chavis. I might have known one or two people with Locklear. I've never seen Oxendine or Oxendine. I haven't, but it is going to be my Christmas present to myself. The DNA test. Yeah. Corey Bell. Hello. Thank you for joining. So, all right, back to the task at hand. So basically what we're doing right now is we're trying to find Puff Daddy's grandmother in the census. So hopefully she'll be in the 1930 census in South Carolina, because that's where she was born, supposedly. And her father's George. So we want to find in the 1930 census. And we have this many George Colliers. So presumably one of these may be her. That one's by himself. Is he married? Is he single? Single. Okay. Don't need to worry. Married. George, Mary, daughter Daisy, and then something Maddie. So could she have been Daisy? Daughter. So I hate when they cross stuff out like that, because that, to me, that's like, that could be sister, but they could also be trying to say sister-in-law, which might be the case if Hardy. What is that? Niece. Daughter. Border. So could Daisy be George or Jesse Miriam Bell? Okay. South Carolina, but living in Philly. I don't think that's South Carolina. Still living in South Carolina. Then we have a Miriam and a Dorothy. And the mother is supposed to be Maisie. So still kind of a little weird. George, Bessie. It would be really interesting now to watch that Finding Your Roots. I don't know if this is the line that they talk about, because obviously with Finding Your Roots, they're only going to be able to talk about a couple of lines. So, yeah, I don't know. Right now, it kind of seems like this could be them, but I don't know. Let's see. What are the names that we have for? Maisie and Macy. Now let's just look for Macy. Okay, interesting. So another child. So maybe having this other Maisie. All right, well, that gives us a bit more. What did it have? Oh, now all of a sudden we get all the hints. Watch the census just pop up. All right, 1910, 1920. Still no 1930. We have the 1920. They're in Orangeburg. Judge Collier. Interesting. So George Judge Collier. All right, so what's... I mean, I have to presume this is the same guy. Have to keep that in mind. That might not be. We sure are getting a lot more. Let's see, GT Collier. JT Collier. That's definitely not Jesse. Jesse's a female. All right. So, also too old. Not a match. So, add that in. Let's see what this looks like. I like that you're going from scratch. On rare occasions, finding your roots is incorrect. Yeah, I kind of like to go from scratch too, because I feel like if I don't go from scratch, then it is just a lot of repeating, you know. Otherwise it's, you know, you're actually getting stuff out of it. So could that be Getty or is that Letty? Now the trick is to see if we can find a G. There we key in George. So it should be Getty, not Letty, at least the way that it's transcribed. Guessing it's not 3 T's though. It's only 2 T's. And then I'm pretty sure the name is Collier, so we'll do that. Boop, bada boop, boop. Oh, does that say George or Judge? That is a good point. That is a good point. I think that says Judge. That definitely looks like Judge. I mean, for one, George does not have a D. And that, yeah, I think that's definitely Judge. Because the George up here, yeah, I think that's Judge. Whether or not that's his actual name, who knows? Because now that you say that, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, could it be a situation of, you know, oh, the name's George and the guy here's Judge, and then just like, yeah, okay, I'll go with that. So here we have, I guess, a photo of Maisie. So here's her birth. And Judge Collier. Judge Collier, Maisie Henderson. Post office of Father Holly Hill. 30. I think that's 28. Huh. Interesting. Try the surname Calder. I come from that surname, my great grandfather, but it was spelled almost the same. Yeah, I want it could be. Let's see what we're getting through George now. Oh, still nothing. Let's see what it says with the George Judge part now. All right, so there's the 1910. They're just married. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Missed it. George Collier. Whether or not this is him, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with these records, but prisoners who have been tried and sentenced to hard labor or otherwise. Allegheny County Workhouse. Huh. So I don't know if that's him, because we did see a George Collier living in Pennsylvania when we were looking at all the George Colliers, but I don't know if that was him. Now that's obviously not him, because I think, didn't we already have him in the 1900 census as judge? Is that a different one? We know this is him, so we'll just go ahead and add this in. So one thing I'm going to look at is records in Holly Hill. So Judge C. Interesting. Garrison Collier. Well, people think it says Garrison. We'll have to take a look at that. I'm guessing this has to be, because 2 years off doesn't seem too off for the census, especially with the name being so similar. But now is this, maybe it's, is this male? No, female. Okay. I think it probably is Getty. We're going to go with that for now. I may have missed it, but what was the source for the name George? Yeah, so this is the main one, is the U.S. Social Security applications one. But then I think we had, the marriage license for Jesse. And then there's this other daughter, Maisie Durant, that we found. Oh, I recently found a 1938 newspaper article about my Welsh grandmother with a photo. She was in a play in her hometown in Wales. That is cool. That is really cool. The newspaper photos are some of the best to find, I think. Heading off to start my stream now. Have a great night, Jarrett. Well, thank you for joining, Brian. Have fun on your own stream. And I don't know how much longer I'll be going on this one. I just realized I need to charge this. I don't know how much longer I'll be going on this one, but I may not go too much longer. I've been going for just about an hour at this point, so I don't know, we'll keep I guess plugging away and going along, chugging away. So yeah. So all right, so let's see what's going on with this Maisie Durant. Actually, you know what? Let's look at this. South Carolina. Hmm. Oh. Gotta sign in. Gotta sign in. There we go. ABJ Collier. That's not him. That's way too old. All right, let's just see what Collier brings up. All right, so we got 30 results. Sarge Collier. Still too old. Oh, I haven't even looked into the Durant thing yet. I was starting to look into it, and then I realized that I wanted to pull up this thing. I wanted to pull up the, what unique stuff might be there that, we're not going to find in whatever. Oh, let's check this out. It's a whole page for African Americans from Orangeburg. So known plantations. Interesting. Don't see Collier, obviously. So not a ton of information here. This is definitely information geared much more towards getting over the 1870 brick wall for African Americans in the area. So not as much like African Americans throughout the time. Could be wrong. Digitized archives are a godsend. Years ago, I went to an old courthouse in a small town and got to look through a giant 100-year-old property ledger. Yeah, it is really fun to go to archives, but being able to go through digitized records so much more efficiently and from the ease of your own home, oh my gosh, it definitely is a game changer. I mean, there's no way genealogy would be as popular as it is now if it weren't for that, because it takes so much dedication to get very little, like very, very little. Yeah. So I'm wondering. Okay, that's just a Wikipedia. So not a ton of stuff that's like super unique. We've got the cemeteries, got church records, but the church, yeah, because what I'm really looking for is stuff that's going to be kind of right around that time of George Judge Collier, so late 1800s, early 1900s sort of stuff that can tell me. All right, well, actually, I guess we can kind of, yeah, so there's Mazio Collier. Mazio. Oh, easy. Okay. Makes sense. Let's see. Does it look like Mazio? Oh, I hate these ones like this where it's not even in order. It's like order of the whatchamacallit. Is it even in that order? No, it's not. Oh, it's in order by day. But then the numbers are all wacky. Okay. Oh, because it's only I get it now. I get it. All right. This is name a groom, name a bride. It's not even going to tell us anything useful anyway. All right. Just going to give us that number. We're confident it's that. All right. So I noticed that it's given us a bit more here. Okay. So maybe the George name isn't right. Maybe it is. Denton, Texas. Oh, that's not them. This is just coincidence. Nope, not them. Nah. All right. Well, one of their sons, James, getting married. All right, let's go with a death for James. That way we can. Ah, okay. So that must be JT or GT, whatever that was. Yeah. All right. We'll do this for now. Try to figure out what's what. But the names are definitely all over the place. So Judge Celsus Collier. You know what I should do? Actually, I guess any date should work. Was that place? Okay. Let's see what they have in that. Oh. Oh, there's nothing in that collection from that time. Collier. All right. And then Maisie Azel. It's a really bad digitized version of the World War Ones. WikiTree is Jesse's father as James Selrich Collier, but can't find any source for that. Yeah, James Selrich Collier basically sounds like a I don't know, a misunderstanding of the name. Because I mean, obviously Judge is, I think Judge has been so prevalent across a variety of records at this point that I'm much more confident in Judge. And having seen the Judge C Collier, I'm kind of confident in the Celis part too. But I'm wondering if, you know, it could be a situation also of his official name was Judge Celis Collier, but oh, my friends call me George. And thus then you get, oh, well, when the children died, oh, well, his name was George. So I know in my own family, my mom always knew her great grandfather as Horace and was blown away when I found out that his name was actually mostly Harris. So that could be the same sort of thing of, you know, he was just known as George because, you know, Judge, I think, is kind of weird. See what looks like a Social Security doc in FYR. Names James Sellers Collier. Birth date September 1st, 1885. But I guess the question would be, is that the same James? Is that the same guy? Is that the actual father of Jesse? Yeah, it could also be a nickname for a profession. What does it have as his I mean, here we have father and mother Manson and Anna, but this is a Judge Collier born in September 1885. This judge that we have the World War I draft is born September 1880, which I always have more confidence in a draft registration than other registration. Granted, with draft registrations, things can sometimes be off because they either don't want to be drafted or are hoping to be. So, yeah, definitely a lot of weird stuff going on here with this. I want to see what the Judge Celis does. Let's see. We'll do +5. Yeah, that's fine. +5 South Carolina. We're not going to worry about that. Not going to worry about any of that. We're just going to see what we can find for people with this name in that area. So now we have this, another birth. So this is for Will C. Collier. So one of their sons. Geez, how late were they having kids? Oh, wait, no, this is 1887. Did we already look at this one? Or does it just look 1917? No, we were looking at James. So Will, 1917. Here we have another. Who Collier? Maisie Anderson, and then Thomas Collier, 1919. This is a James Thomas Collier, but it can't be. How are they? What is going on here? Was there more than one George? Was there more than one Collier married to a Maisie Anderson? One was George and one was Judge? Because this is just weird. Like, we have this obvious birth. This is a birth certificate. We see it plain as day. When was this filled out? October 7th, 1919. Is that the actual date they filled it out, though? Because I'm wondering if they, like, went back and did a bunch of these or something. October 7th, 1919. Going to go back to George. And then James. Oh, we got it from a death record for him. Okay, let's see. Could this be the family? Joseph, Lizzie. She's widowed. So Leon, Joseph, Lizzie. So all three of these, Leon, Joseph, and Lizzie, would presumably be in the 1920 census. Which is where we originally got this. So I don't know if that's them. All right, so we've got a lot of weird stuff going on here. I mean, they're in Holly Hill. Maddie, Bessie, Rebecca, James, Marion, Will. See, I don't think that really matches up. Joseph, Lizzie, and James. And they'd be what? They'd be 11, 4, and 6. 1, 4, and 6. What is that? So James, 0. Adele, Lizzie. Adele, Lizzie. Sure would be Joseph. I keep going the wrong way. Sure would be Joseph. And then Getty would be Leon. So I don't know. I guess maybe it could be. I guess it's certainly possible. It seems a little weird. Let's check the address then. 58 Bower Road. Where are they living here? Entoville Road. So they would have moved. Means Judge George, whoever, would have died. If that's correct, he would have died sometime between 1920 and 1930. So let's do this then. Collier, we'll do that. Dies 1925 plus 5 years. Holly Hill, Orangeburg, South Carolina. We're going to only do county for now. All right, let's also do gender male search. And let's so Collier dies sometime between 1920 and 19. Let's see if we can make it really specific. It's a Holly Hill. Rufus Collier. Solomon Collier. Thomas Collier. And ours would be 1881-ish. So could it be Rufus Collier? He's married. Do we get the name of the spouse? No. Who gives the information? H something. I'm not sure if it's given enough to really get an idea. Dies December 6, 1926. I mean, this seems to be the best, most likely out of them. But that's also just assuming that all this stuff is correct. So, I mean, here we have mom and dad, Manson and Anna. You know what I want to do? I want to see how many Judge Colliers are there in this area. Was born 1882. Let's see, just to give it a wide range, just to give it a real wide range. County and adjacent counties. How many are there? Basically, how possible is it that we could keep screwing up or not keep screwing up, but screw up and only find people that are, or find people that are different people. All right, well, here we have this Judge Celis Collier, born 1889, but this is a whole, what do they have in this tree? So this could be them. Judge Celis Collier. All right. Let's try this then. How many George Colliers are there? Why is it coming up with barely anything on Judge? So we do have some different Colliers. I wasn't finding anything on this. Let's do this again. We have records on the guy. Why is he not pulling up those records? There we go. 20. So, I mean, it seems like there's just one Judge Collier in the area. Let's see. I came in late, but if you tried finding his wife's death record, his name might appear there. Well, the thing is right now we have a few different names. So with the wife, I guess we could look and see what type of death record we've got going on. Guess that's not her. Let's see what we've. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff that's probably not her. I think. Yeah. See, we get a lot of mixtures. Like it's all between like J.C. Collier, Judge C. Collier, Judge Celis Collier. But then we had a couple of those that have George Judge Collier. And I'm going to do Orangeburg. Just to do it. Just because. And while we're at it, you know what? Let's just do a general. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, not Spartanburg, Orangeburg. Whoops. Wrong part of the state. Interesting. Potential death record, James C. Collier, age 60, birth 1883, death place, Richland, South Carolina. Father Garrison Collier, mother Diana Collier. Yeah. So 1943, the only thing that is weird with that is if those census records we were looking at before are correct, we would expect him to have died pre-1930. But maybe, even if the census is the family, could be wrong, and maybe he left the family sort of thing, or who knows. So yeah, a couple of different. Let's get really specific. Let's do 1880 to 1884. I wish Ancestry had the birth year ranges for searching like Family Search does. That's one of the things I love about Family Search. So nothing really popping out with that. I am really curious. What lines did they go into for finding your roots with P Diddy? P Diddy. Of Diddy. See what line it was. Oh, what? They did do the Collier line. Okay, yeah. So what did they? So that's what they went with. Okay. I wonder how confident they were. So this was the census that they went with for the 1900. So just to pull it up, because I just pulled it up because I was like, what did they do? So that's what they pulled up. That's what they put. So whether or not that is the correct one, I mean, I think it seems very possible. You know, the September date, the 1885 is a little bit off because he should be a bit older at that point. But yeah, I mean, the way that I would say it is more research required, but also I don't know what, I don't know what they found in their research. I know that's one of the things that like I've heard from a lot of different genealogists is that when they've like found an issue, yeah, they did the typical kind of slave research, where once they find the collier name, they go and look at all of the slave owners. And let's see, where do they have it? South Carolina, Orangeburg districts. So, yeah, new season starts January 5th. And a new season of Relative Race just started already. So, yeah. Yeah, new season of Relative Race already started. So, yeah, funny, the one that everyone wants me to go up the collier line, that's the one that they did do. So, but this is what they said was the family. And I think it's very possible. I mean, based on everything else that I've seen, there's really no other judges there, but with the name discrepancies, that's the biggest question mark. But I've also, I mean, the amount of time I've put into researching this tree is the same amount of time I've been streaming. Honestly, less. I've been streaming for just almost an hour and a half, and however long I was actually building this tree. So yeah, but I honestly, I think with that, I'm kind of feeling like I'm hitting the end point. It would have been nice to see a bit more with records they have. Like if I were doing like a deep dive into this tree, what I would do is I'd start looking into the parish records and a lot of these other records and just kind of see, can I find them in there? And if I can, does that tell me anything different? So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. I definitely need to find some good celebrities to research into. So we'll see how things go if he's still trending in if he's still trending in a week or so. We might keep building out. So yeah, this is the line that they were building up on Finding Your Roots. And yeah, so one of the things that I know I've had a big issue with Finding Your Roots that DC Moore has come out and addressed directly, but never given like the information or the evidence to back it up. But it is what it is. But like a lot of times when they do this is your genetic cousin, and especially when they do it with someone who's like from an endogamous population, I'll hear Henry Louis Gates say, this is your genetic cousin and you share one segment of DNA. And I'm like, if they're coming from an endogamous population, they share one segment of DNA, you're kind of jumping at some big conclusions with what you're saying there. And I've seen a lot of people comment that on public forums like Facebook and stuff. And I remember CC's responded to a few of those basically saying, oh, trust me, it is correct. We make sure that it is if we're going to say it. It's just we can't show everything on screen. And as a YouTuber who has made many videos where you got to limit what you show because time and attention span and everything. Honestly, attention span is one of the biggest things that worries me about doing streams like I did today where I trace family trees. People just like, oh, I'm bored with that sort of thing. So I haven't done one like this in a while, but today's been pretty good so far. So yeah. There's also a World War II draft registration card for a James J.T. Collier, 8/12/1919. His mother isn't listed as Maisie Wright. She remarried after Judge died. Oh, his mother is listed as Maisie Wright. She remarried. Okay, yeah, I mean, that makes sense because I think when we were clicking through, when I was looking at this, I think we saw there's like a marriage between a Maisie Collier and something Wright. Yeah. Oh, but that's 1908, so that's a different one. Yeah, this is what you're talking about. So Maisie Wright. And they're living in New York at this point. So I'm guessing the whole family. I wonder if it's a case of the family moved because the dad died, or I wonder if, okay, maybe I'm not done yet. I wonder if the dad died in New York. Because oh wait, no, that's born. Five. Judge Howell Collier. Let's do 2 years. And all right, yeah, let's see what that gives now. Oh, it's still Collier. That's right. That's clicked the wrong thing. There we go. Yeah, too many options. All right, let's see if this does anything then. Add South Carolina for the birth date. All right. Yeah, nothing. So then here's this that Rufus Collier that for a second I was like, I wonder if that could be him, but it's definitely not him, obviously. But probably related in some way. So, all right, I just wanted to look into that because that jumped into my head. So yeah, finally we can find out who Puff Daddy is in relation to Diddy. Yeah. Oh, you should try Nordic sources with generations of Ola Olsen and yeah. Oh yeah, no, I experienced that wonderfully when I did Drew Durnill's family tree and I got to the Westenskow family, who were originally, it was Hans Olsen Westenskow, who was just originally Hans Olsen, and then his father, Ule Hansen, and his father, Hans Olesen, and his father, Ula, Peterson, and, yeah. How about an outlaw like Jesse James of the Newton Gang? Yeah, I might need to do this. I mean, I took a step away from the building celebrity family trees for a minute. And this one just popped up because it was an idea I had, and that was the number one voted in Discord to do today. So, yeah, Maisie is nicknamed for Margaret Mayreed. Doubt it would be Mayreed in this case. Yeah, I mean I will say I hear people say this stuff all the time, and yes, it is true that often certain names will be nicknames for other names, but not every case. And this is an issue I've had with some people with Jewish genealogy, is that in Jewish genealogy, there are kind of rules that are used in naming. So, often, if you're not an Ashkenazi family, you're named after someone who's passed away. So, some people will take that a little too seriously and apply it like, oh, well, if it's not following this rule, then it can't be this. And I have seen more than enough times that these sorts of things aren't always the case, that you always have to take it more as a Maisie could be a nickname for Margaret Mayreed. So until you find something that shows that, it's very possible that her real name was Maisie. That was her official name. That was what she was known by. And it had nothing to do with Margaret. I mean, I know more than enough people where it's like, oh yeah, my name is John. And it's like, oh, is your full name Jonathan? No, it's just John, or, stuff. I mean, I guess that's not quite 100% the same, but I can't think of any other examples. But yeah, that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's one thing that I always like to just kind of mention, of keep in mind, because I know that's one thing that I've seen people do, especially in Jewish genealogy. Like, actually, just this week in the WikiTree challenge, on one of my family lines, there's one of my ancestors. In English, he went by Morris, but his Hebrew name was Pesach. And in the research, one of the researchers had actually kind of said, like, I don't think this is him, because if his name was Morris, then his Hebrew name would likely not be Pesach. And then there was a gravestone that showed his English name Morris, and then in Hebrew the Pesach, and it was like, oh yeah, I guess I guess I'm wrong. And so it's kind of that sort of thing. So yeah. So, but yeah, it is a good thing. It is always a good thing to keep in mind, though, of, if this name correlates to these other names, that is the most likely scenario. It's, the whole, what do they say? If you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. So it's that sort of thinking. But I guess with genealogy, it's also think horses, not zebras, but don't be surprised when you turn around and see a zebra. So, I guess that's the way to think of it. So, yeah, my husband's name is Ronald, but he goes by Jack since Jackson is his middle name. I've also seen people in my tree going by their middle names. Yeah, middle names are a big one too. But yeah, so okay, I think with that was a pretty fun stream. We didn't get super far into stuff, but I never feel like we're going to get that far, because as we all know, when it comes to genealogy research, if you want to put any sort of effort to make sure that it's correct, it takes some time. And even with that, I was speeding along quicker than I usually do in my own research. But very interesting stuff. It definitely makes me wonder for the Finding Your Roots episode, did they actually have that correct? And did they have other records that, I haven't found in the little bit of time, the hour of research I've put into it. But yeah, so thank you everybody for joining today. Always appreciate it. Next week it'll be on the reaction channel, so we'll do the typical Q&A stuff, and keep your eyes out for the Max Miller episode. It should be coming out very, very, very soon. I know I've been hyping this up forever, but yeah, it should be coming out soon, and then I should hopefully have a lot of other videos coming up behind it as well. But you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Have a wonderful Friday. I am Joe Ross, the Genie Vlogger. I am out. I will see you.